guys, what is up? It is GVKcollectibles, and it's Mythical Mountain Monday. So this has been a while since we've done a Mythical Mountain Monday, just because of October was really busy. Of course, work for me is really crazy, so about like half the time I can't really film on Sunday, because I'm usually working on Sunday. But this is an exception today, which is really, really cool. So I didn't have a chance to read all my comics from this week. But I am actually really, really excited. I'm going to showcase 3 comics that I really, really enjoyed. There was a lot that I really liked. Like, there was the Vampirella verse, which is a continuously fun story about this evil version of Vampirella going around all the multiverse, trying to kill different Vampirellas, which is really, really fun. Swamp Thing continues to be really, really cool, and reason I really enjoy that book. Hopefully this spins off, and hopefully it spins off into something greater, like ongoing with Ram V. I really, really enjoyed. Red Sonja continues to be awesome, of where it's very much kind of like The Mandalorian, a little bit of where Red Sonja kind of like develops this relationship with a child, and it's kind of like a mother relationship with this child, which is really, really fun. It's really, really well written too. And Star Wars, the main title, continues to be really, really cool, dealing with the fallout of War of the Bounty Hunters, which I don't think I've talked about. So basically, War of the Bounty Hunters ended as exactly as I thought it would. Boba Fett gets Han Solo, delivers him to Jabba the Hutt, but there's more going on in the scenes. It's not over for Crimson Dawn yet, which is really, really cool, because we actually get a big reveal at the end of that, at the end of War of the Bounty Hunters, where the Knights of Ren are there, and several different kind of characters from the sequel era, which is really, really cool, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm really glad that they're really encompassing all these different eras of Star Wars into War of the Bounty Hunters. But it was really, really good, and we're going to get talking about a Star Wars book here in a minute. But I figured for the first book I would talk about. So this came out, I think, not this specific book, but there was a series that came out, like, I think the week before, a few weeks before Halloween, and it was called Soul Plumbers. It is a part of the DC horror line, which is really, really cool. So, and it's about, like, this kind of lonely little, this dude whose name is Edgar, and he wants to be a priest, and he's very devoted to God and everything, and he's trying to, but he works at a gas station. He got kicked out of trying to be a father, so it's very, very interesting. But basically, he sees this idea of soul plumbers, of where there's this device that, like, it takes out, like, demons from people, which is very interesting, and he creates those own things, tries it out on one of his, like, because he's at this gas station, one of these homeless, kind of transient kind of people that he works with, that come by the store, and he rips something out, but it kills this transient too, which is really, really crazy. So, but eventually we get to see, because he tries to exorcise it, because he realizes that it killed his friend, which, like, he decides and this, like, blorb who basically goes through his kind of like life story of, like, why he wanted to be kind of devoted to God, which is very interesting, and he saw several things. The art is really, really interesting. Let me pull it up. It's very much like kind of that kind of 90s style, I think, late 90s or early 2000s horror kind of comic style, which I really, really enjoyed. Then we realized what this thing is that he exercises. It's called a blorg, which is kind of like this weirdly Lovecraftian thing, and it's very, very unique and very weird, as we get, like, kind of craziness. There's, like, different, like, parts and whatever. It's just a really weird, crazy book, and it's really, really fun. It's very gory, because there's a point where the blorb is, like, telling, like, is actually traveling throughout, because he and Edgar kind of, this blorb, they, like, not, oh god, like, they kind of become friends almost, but he's like, this blur is exploring the world. It's like, oh, wonderful, like, humans are so wonderful, and it's like, I want to be human. But instead of, like, possessing people, what it does, it takes the different body parts of all kinds of humans it sees, and just, like, makes this weird kind of reanimator fucking hodgepodge of body parts, which is really, really gross and creepy. This is, like, a gross, like, horror book, but it also gets to a point of where there's actually this kind of crusader who's now involved, knowing that, hey, the soul plumbing is not bullshit, because in the previous issue it's kind of like assumed and like looked upon as like this kind of televangelist going around using this, so he was kind of faking it, which is really, really cool. But it's a very fucking weird and interesting book, I think. I'm really glad I picked it up, despite like kind of the weirdness of it. I really hope to see horror books from DC continue, because I know they do the Black Label along with like a lot of the Joe Hill stuff presents, but hopefully we get to see more horror books, and also the Black Label DC Black Label has some horror books, but I'm really happy that they're producing kind of more horror-centric books, which is really, really cool. So with the next book in the one of my favorite ones that I read this week was Bounty Hunters number 17. So basically after the events of the previous issue where, and I think actually War of the Bounty Hunters itself, Valance teams up with Boba Fett to try to get Han Solo back, mainly because Valance has a friend, Han Solo was his friend, and he did something bad of where he was actually inadvertently trying to kill Han Solo, and it kind of ruined their, Han and Valance kind of ruined their relationship of that. Han couldn't trust Valance anymore, so basically Valance is trying to redeem himself, save Han, which is very, very cool. Valance is a really, really cool, interesting character. Thing I didn't know, he's actually a Legends character brought into the main continuity, which is really, really cool. But basically what happens is Boba Fett betrays him, puts a thermal detonator on his chest, and explodes. But luckily, since Valance is a cyborg, he's able to survive that. And there's actually a cool moment where he's facing against all these different stormtroopers, which is crazy and really fun. Like, he takes on this whole big brigade of troops. So, there is another character, of course. The main plot is with Toga and Lasha. Toga and Lasha are looking for the daughter that is the heir to the Unbroken clan and the other clan, because there was a little thing. Basically, what the main plot of the story, the main A-plot, of course, and of the book. And it's cool because they recruited a few people. They recruited Zuckuss, and they also recruited Bosk, who was blown up. His legs were blown up by Fett. But Valance actually keeps fighting the stormtroopers. He actually does relatively a good job, and Taga Lash actually takes on the fucking the Executor, which is crazy. Then, of course, we get some interesting plot developments with Crimson Dawn. Basically kind of what Kira's been kind of doing. She's been setting up these powerful working in the shadows to make Crimson Dawn a powerful organization, and she is offering the Unbroken clan leader, who we've seen in the Dr. Aphra comics, like a place within Crimson Dawn, which is very interesting. There's actually a cool moment where Valance is trying to actually reach, because Tonga and is trying to get to Valance to basically rescue him. There's a moment where it's like you think Valance there's actually a cool moment with a kind of Imperial cadet confronting Valance, basically say, hey, don't do this, the Empire kind of sucks. Then, of course, the captain of the ship, who I don't know who's on the board right now. It is very interesting, because this is technically the Executor, but it isn't Piet. So, basically, they send him into the cadet in space, which pisses off Valance, who basically eventually gets to the hangar to attack some jump troopers, which was really, really cool to see these guys again. I think it's been since Rebels and really only in the Star Wars Battlefront games, and I think Jedi Fallen Order, but I haven't played it all the way through to know. But it's really, really cool. Eventually, when we think Valance is going to escape, he's eventually captured by Darth Vader, because they had a little thing. It was a little before that I joined into the comics, but they have a relationship there. Then basically Darth Vader repairs Valance fully, and he says, you serve me. So now Valance is working for Vader, which was really, really cool. I really loved that drop at the end of the book. Bounty Hunters is a really, really cool, interesting book where it focuses on the underground of kind of the underground underbelly side of the Star Wars universe, where you have the main title really deals with everything that we know, like Luke, Leia, Han, Darth Vader, then the Darth Vader title, get more into those. Dr. Aphra, I love, is the weird kind of goofy expanding universe side, but I really enjoy Bounty Hunters just because of that like kind of seedy underground nature of the book. This book continues to be fun. I mean, I really enjoy Bounty Hunters just in general. I think it's really, really fun book. So yeah, Bounty Hunters number 7, and then, as I said, the main book. So this one's really, really good. I loved the hell out of this book when I read it, and it was one I was actually looking really forward to, so let's just get on with it. It is Dark Knights of Steel. So this is Tom Taylor's, like, another, like, Elseworld story, which is really, really great. He's kind of really made a name for himself for doing a lot of Elseworld, modern Elseworld books, like, of course, Deceased was really, really cool, and hell, he's even working on his own alternate universe title with, in Dark Days, with Marvel, which is crazy to think. So, it's very interesting. As we all know, the story very much opens up how traditionally it usually does open, where we have, the end of Krypton and the rocket going to Earth. But what changes up very differently is Jor-El and Superman. I'm trying to remember her name. Laura. Laura? I can't remember, like, her mom's, like. Jesus, I can't remember, frickin' her name at all. Like, Superman's, like, birth mom's name. I think it's, like, Laura, I believe. But it's actually really, really cool, because, like, it really it flips our expectations on our head, thinking it's mainly it's mainly Clark who survived, and is the last surviving member of Krypton, but it's actually his parents along, too. He actually gets there, and he's actually threatened by a group of troopers, Knights on Ridgeback, and he actually eventually learns that he has the similar powers that, he's actually the one who uses powers that disintegrates all these troopers, which kind of freaks him the hell out. Then we cut to several years later in the King of Storms, which is really, really cool because it is Jefferson, I forget his first name, but it is Black Lightning who's the king in this universe, in this particular kingdom, and also you're having Constantine kind of be like an oracle, which is really, really funny and like is cool, which is really, really great. I think that's awesome. Then we eventually see the House of Kal-El, which is really, really cool because we actually get to see Superman, aka Kal-El, Clark, and who's known as Kal-El, and Batman, which is really, really cool. So you get to see Bruce, who's like this knight, of course, and he has Alfred, who's like kind of like his, like, not a squire, but like kind of an older general, which is really, really cool. And it's actually fun because Bruce is like, Clark's like, I want to come with you. I want to like do this kind of night patrol, not confront like this Banshee, who we get into who it is. But basically Bruce is like, nah, you're not coming. Like, I swore an oath to protect you and your family, so, and I can't make anything happen to you. It's actually really cool because when we get to the village, we actually, because once again, it's Tom Taylor picking and choosing his continuity of what he gets to do within the story. So we have Richard Dick Grayson, we have Duke Thomas, which is really, really cool. Alfred is like out there helping people. Then you get Jason, Steph, which is really, really cool. Like, he's really picking and choosing kind of like who his Robins are, which is really awesome. Then we eventually learn who the Banshee is. It's Diana Lance, which is really, really cool. Black Canary. And Batman assumes that she is kind of like this assassin sent by King Geoffrey, aka Black Lightning, which I'll just refer. But there's a cool moment of where like the Black Canary uses her voice and it like shatters this in, which is really, really crazy. And it's actually really, really cool. And Batman kind of like wonders why the hell is he still alive, because it could have like shattered his like head. But then eventually Clark shows up and like kind of subdues her, like tries to talk to her, is just like, hey, you look scared, but then Bruce bonks her on the back of the head with a sword, which is really, really cool. It's really, really awesome. Then of course we have Harley Quinn. She is the Jester, and I really, really love like usually what Tom Taylor does with Harley Quinn. I really love it, where I love how she's kind of like the court jester, and she kind of like runs the dungeons, which is really, really funny. But then eventually, Jor-El eventually talks to, like, Batman, Bruce and Kal-El talk to Kal-El's parents, saying like what was going on, and basically there's like kind of this debate of what to do, like essentially, like the innocence and everything, like to like the way Clark thinks Jor-El is kind of like running the kingdom is not necessarily good, and like putting like this prisoner in the dungeon, even though we don't know if she's an assassin or not, which is really, really interesting. And we kind of eventually learn that Bruce, like his parents had passed away, but he has kind of inserted himself to the elves, which is really, really cool. But it's actually eventually learned that like he's a bastard, but we don't know exactly why he's a bastard, which is very interesting, and it's very cool. But basically, it gets into this moment of like where Bruce sees himself as a bastard, and it's like, and Clark's like, who cares if you're a bastard or not? Like he said, like, and it brings up like these cool traditional, like what the kind of knighthood that Bruce has been raised on, but that's really interesting. And eventually Bruce and Jor-El have a conversation, which is really, really cool. And it's really awesome because they get into this kind of like almost, because really he doesn't have his parents, so he doesn't have those like kind of father moments like with Thomas or anybody. But what we eventually learn, and of course what we learn is in the forest, Green Arrow is actually working with assumingly Green Lantern. I don't know who it is, probably Hal Jordan, to basically try to assassinate somebody. But it's actually funny that we then learn that Jor-El is actually Bruce's father. Like, him and Martha had an affair with each other, which is very interesting, and that's why he refers to himself as a bastard. So, basically, Bruce in this timeline is half Kryptonian, which is kind of funny and great. Like, that's awesome to me, and it also shows, like, he's durable. It's such a cool, interesting premise, which I don't think has... I don't think... It's only been done, I think, of my recollection, one other time, and it was Speeding Bullets, but even then, it's Clark, and he was named Bruce, but he was raised by the Waynes. So, it is very interesting and very cool and unique. Once again, this is an Elseworld story. You can play with continuity and play with ideas here and there, which is really, really great. I really enjoy the story. The covers of this book is absolutely fantastic. It is, this is a 12-issue limited series, which is a little bit longer than a mini. Minis usually are 4 to 5 issues. Like the Swamp Thing, I guess, right now is technically a limited series because it is only a 10-issue. But once again, Dark Knights of Steel opens a really unique and interesting world to this kind of new DC landscape that we've never seen before, and I really, really like it. I'm very excited to see what continues in this book. I'm really excited. I love Tom Taylor. He's been doing amazing stuff with Nightwing, Dark Ages, oh god, like all kinds of stuff. Like he is, Son of Kal-El too, which is really, really great as well. It's the current main Superman book right now. That's great as well. Like he's just killing it. One of my favorite writers, I think, next to James Tynion IV. So with that being said, that's Mythical Mountain Monday. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you return to this forum. I think this is actually maybe how I do the forum kind of going forward. There'll be a lot shorter videos. I don't have to read nearly as much books that or show off as nearly much books. But I did enjoy a lot of them. There's a few that I didn't get to, like The Good Asian, Superman 78, and the main Batman title, which is Fear State's been pretty awesome recently. So that's what I can say about it. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and get uploaded to Mythical Mountain, where you can get notified when Mythical Mountain Mondays, What's in the Box Wednesdays, and Figure Review Fridays come out. Also, check us out on Mercari and Instagram, and my Facebook page is also down there, even though it's kind of like not good. I mean, it's like basically the same stuff I post on Instagram, but you know, it's like it's been a while since I've ran a Facebook page, so it's like eh. So, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great week. Hopefully it's great. Hopefully it's safe. We are getting a lot cooler weather, so hopefully you enjoy that weather here. I know it's been really cool down here in Florida, which is crazy to think, but it's been great. So with that being said, peace, y'all.